Sociopaths and psychopaths, they're pretty interesting individuals in our society. You know, a lot of people think that a sociopath and a psychopath are the same individuals, and research has suggested that there is quite a bit of difference between the two personalities, and I want to point that out in today's video. After I do this video, the next video is going to entail, you know, some of the things that you're likely to deal with in a family where you may have a psychopath and a sociopath, or where you may have a psychopath and think you have a sociopath. So I'm hoping that these two videos will clarify maybe some of the things that you have been housing on the inside of you and not really knowing how to process it yourself. So let's go ahead and jump in. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. For all of you who are subscribed and participating, it felt like I said that wrong, who are subscribed, yeah, that's it, and participating. And for those who are new, I encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stick around with us and be a part of our growing and our validating community. Let me introduce myself in case you don't know me. My name is Tamra, and I'm an internationally and board certified trauma therapist, but I'm also licensed in mental health, and I specialize in treating children, teens, and families, as well as adults within my private practice who are dealing with trauma. Let's go ahead and jump in. Usually when I talk about sociopaths and psychopaths, you know, a lot of my clients, their ears perk up because, you know, what they're looking for is some kind of concrete understanding of the two. You know, the best way to describe the differences between a psychopath and a sociopath is to think about genes and environment. So I like to tell my clients, and research backs this up as well, that sociopaths tend to really be developed and molded because of nurture. It's how they're brought up. It's kind of how they're shaped and molded over time. Some research suggests that there's a traumatic history with people who have antisocial personality disorder. And for sociopaths within our society, you know, research also supports that there's trauma in their childhood as well. So, you know, I want you, as you watch this video and the next video coming up on this subject, I want you to think about a sociopath as being molded and created and, you know, kind of made into the individual, almost like clay, you know, that they are. Now, the psychopath is a little bit different because they are more nature. They are basically biology and genes. You know, this is who they are. This is how they behave. This is how they think. This is how they look, how they act. This is just part of who they are. And these particular individuals can really be scaled in our society because this is who they are at the core. They are born this way. Is there a genetic component with sociopaths? Some research suggests it's two things, nature and nurture, but most of the current research on sociopaths suggests that they are molded that way over time. You know, really when you're talking about a psychopath, you know, we're looking at some of our serial killers. You know, some of the ones who have done massacres in our society over the years. Some of those who have gotten the death penalty, right? That's a psychopath. They're the ones who are really methodical. And, you know, as I'm going to point out here in a little bit, you know, they know how to play the part well. A sociopath may be a little bit more haphazard, kind of impulsive and not really skilled at what they're doing. You know, I think for lack of a clinical term, I'm going to say that they are less experienced with creating crimes than psychopaths. Psychopaths methodically think out what they're going to do. And while a sociopath may appear to be the same way, they may not be as skilled as a Ted Bundy, you know? So let's go ahead and jump into this, okay? Let's go ahead and start differentiating between the two. Let's start with a psychopath, okay? A psychopath is a predator. They are a serial killer. They are individuals who are more manipulative. They are charming and seductive. You know, a lot of them tend to be really beautiful, are really handsome and laid back and have a lot of self-control that's really attractive and appealing to women. You know, you may have seen a psychopath maybe once in your life. They really don't pop up as much in our society as we may think. We see more narcissists and sociopaths and those with borderline personality disorder. We rarely see the psychopath. But when you come up, you know, against or on a psychopath, you know, it can almost make the hair on your arm stand up because they tend to be, you know, very self-controlled and very arrogant and confident. They have a lot of confidence in their ability to manipulate you, and they can have a high level of self-efficacy. Here's the term of self-efficacy right here, in case you don't know what that is. A high level of confidence in who they are is really what you're going to see in a psychopath, okay? Psychopaths tend to see others as an object, a means to an end. They have an inability to really form that emotional attachment. They lack empathy, very much like the sociopath does. But the sociopath can sometimes be molded to be a little bit more flexible when it comes to emotions and understanding people's feelings and be more empathetic. But a psychopath really is incapable, right? They know how to mimic, they know how to pretend, and they know how to act. Sometimes they're very theatrical, especially a psychopath. These individuals have almost a chilling calmness about them, and you may even start to feel like they know some things about you and you haven't even told them anything about you. I'm sure you've run into people like that. These individuals are pretty educated. They have successful careers, most of them. They get into high ranked positions like politicians, presidents, leaders of huge corporations. A lot of times they are rich, they have money, they have a lot of social charm and prowess, right? They're very intelligent when it comes to maneuvering the social field. And they have a lot of popularity in their communities and in their workspaces, these particular individuals, I hate to say it, they carefully plan out their crimes and how they're going to commit a crime and how they're going to murder and hurt and how they're going to manipulate. Not all psychopaths murder. Not all psychopaths are your Ted Bundys, right? Sometimes they are just very hurtful, and they will go to any length to hurt you and to block you from impeding upon their space and the control that they have in their life. Okay, that's a psychopath. A lot of times too, I like to point this out, they are not creeped out, for lack of a clinical term, by things that would typically creep normal people out, right? So they could watch gruesome things and murder and crime and rape and incest and trafficking and all of that and be just fine. Again, they don't feel anything. They're very cold, they're very numb. It's like ice in their veins, for lack of a clinical term, so these individuals, again, they mimic. So they will mimic emotion, but you're going to sense as an empathic individual, right? An individual who isn't born to be this way, you're going to sense that something's off. They're pretending, okay? Let's jump to the sociopath. So the sociopath tends to be more rage prone and erratic. They're impulsive. They get easily angered. You may have intermittent explosive disorder. Here's a definition of that for you right here. They may be individuals who pop off, right? They're really angry, really self-assured, and sometimes very arrogant and pushy. They're bossy, things like that. There's difficulty forming attachments with these individuals. If treatment is successful with them and they get into therapy either by force or their own will, or they get a really experienced psychotherapist or psychologist or psychiatrist who understands sociopathy, they can kind of learn to participate in society in an emotional way. They're not quite like the psychopath who doesn't have the capability to feel. They can kind of, bend just a little bit. They're a little more flexible than the psychopath. But again, they are also cold. These individuals are slightly sloppy in how they commit crimes. They're inexperienced. They just don't have the calm confidence that a psychopath has. They also engage in pathological lying, and while the psychopath may do the same thing, the sociopath tends to do it a little bit more. And again, they're sloppy, they're haphazard in how they go about things, so they're a little easier to be tracked by law, by law enforcement, FBI agents, police officers, all of that. Sometimes managers, supervisors, that kind of thing can also pinpoint something in the sociopath that isn't right. They can also, kind of track their footsteps. Psychotherapists can do the same thing. Psychopaths, however, really cover their tracks very well, and it's hard to keep up with their steps because they're very skilled at what they do. Sociopaths are not. They may leave a little clue here, a little clue there. A psychopath has really thought things out. They premeditate what they do, and they think it out all the way down to the last step, and so they erase their steps. That's why Ted Bundy was so successful, for lack of a better term, in what he did, because he erased his steps. He knew how to cover things. He knew how to play the role until he got caught. A sociopath won't be able to do that necessarily. They're going to be a little bit more sloppy. That's the best term. So I want you to think of it this way, guys. A sociopath plays mind games. They are narcissistic most of the time. They are cruel. They are cold. But they also lack that calm confidence that a predator would have. A predator, a serial killer, evil deception is what characterizes the psychopath, okay? That's the best way to think of this. The psychopath is more evil in their deception and how they become predators and prey upon people, and how they kind of erase their steps when they do crimes. Sociopaths are a little more sloppy and impulsive and really rage prone. They don't have that cool confidence that a psychopath has. A psychopath hides behind this wall and you can't really catch them, whereas a sociopath can only hide but for so long before they're caught. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, guys, to you in terms of the differences. We'll come back to this topic as we go along. This is, quite a popular topic on my channel. If you go back and look at some of the videos on female sociopaths, male sociopaths, paternal psychopaths, maternal sociopaths, you're going to find that this is a pretty popular topic on my channel. And one reason is because we all have come, face to face with these kind of individuals. And it's pretty scary when these kind of people exist within our families, and around our children and our work sites, and, even patients who come in who are stone cold psychopaths. It's really scary. So, I encourage you to give this video a thumbs up if it is helpful and was helpful, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to stick around and get more videos. Make sure you hit that bell button if you want to get, kind of like notifications or updates every time I post a video. So I'll be back with the next video. We're going to narrow this down to families. How do you know if either one of these characters exists within your family? I'm going to come back with that video. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.